That was incredible, but the most incredible thing was they had it and they didn't use it.
Let me first say that it's a pleasure to be on with you and an honor to visit with all of your viewers. This is a remarkable story. Amy Robach, in an unguarded moment, in her own words, talks about how she had one of the most devastating stories imaginable, and she had it 3 years ago. And the network said, well, we don't even know who Jeffrey Epstein is. And they ridiculed her and wouldn't put it on. 3 years goes by. Of course, Jeffrey Epstein gets indicted. He gets arrested. He had suicide committed, either by himself or somebody else. Robach says right in this video that she doesn't believe it was suicide. She believes that he was killed. But she had this whole story. ABC News squashed the story. They wouldn't put it on. Today they come out with a mealy-mouthed statement saying that, you know, we've kept up with the story all along. Well, after 3 years, they have not published one word about what Amy Robach discovered 3 years ago. And now they're saying that give us 3 more months and we'll come up with a documentary and some blog posts about this. 3 years and 3 months just to finish a couple of interviews is a little outrageous. They killed the story, and they killed it because, as Amy Robach says in the tape, there was information about the royalty in London, and they put a lot of pressure on ABC, and ABC felt they wouldn't get to have interviews with Prince William and Kate, and so the story got canceled that way. But she claims that she had information on Bill Clinton, and she mentions that Alan Dershowitz was on one of the planes. She doesn't necessarily accuse him of anything, but she's raising big names, and somehow ABC failed to recognize there was a valuable story in what an attorney back at the time, Mr. Edwards, said is probably uncovering the greatest horrific pedophile the country has ever known. Jeffrey Epstein. ABC News couldn't find their way to publishing the story. So there was pressure applied someplace.
Yeah. Well, here, you mentioned that ABC put out a response today. Let me read it. ABC News statement, at the time, not all of our reporting met our standards to air, but we have never stopped investigating the story. Ever since, we've had a team on this investigation and substantial resources dedicated to it. The work has led to a 2-hour documentary and 6-part podcast that will air in the new year. But you know, what's even more incredible is Robach's statement. Let me show you that. Now, this is quite lengthy, but let me just read part of it. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset that an important interview I conducted with Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015. I won't read the whole thing, but it was not a private moment. She wasn't speaking emotionally, or, I mean, frustration, sure, but she was in the office with her staff. The cameras weren't broadcasting, obviously they were recording her, but she was not speaking in a moment of rage. She gave meticulous details, explanations, dotted I's, made connections. That was a lucid, calm reporter used to investigating who, was frustrated because ABC killed her story. I don't find either Amy Robach's statement or ABC's statement addressing the bombshells that the original videotape has. What do you think?
Well, it sort of gives you the feeling of watching a cat trying to bury its mess in a hardwood floor. You know, no matter how hard they work, they're not going to do it. Amy Robach, in an unguarded moment, whether it was frustration or whatever, she emptied her feelings about the work she had invested in this story, how much she had accomplished. And in 3 years since then, ABC, in spite of all their resources, couldn't do any follow-up interviews with any of the other victims in order to corroborate the story and put it on the air. They buried the story. It was plain and simple, buried by ABC. We want to know why. Why, ABC, did you bury the story? Who put pressure on you? What did you get in return for burying the story?
That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.